The moment everything changed. Jade Monroe had perfected the art of being invisible. In an office tower filled with sharp voices and sharper ambitions, she moved like a whisper through hallways, completing tasks with quiet efficiency. Her desk sat tucked in the back corner of the 9th floor, exactly where she wanted it. Safe. Unnoticed. Forgotten by everyone except the people who needed something filed, scheduled, or fixed. She liked it that way. That Tuesday morning started like any other. Jade arrived at 7:30 with her lunch packed, her hair pulled into a simple bun, and her mother's old floral thermos filled with chamomile tea. The thermos was scratched and dented, but it had traveled with her through college, 3 jobs, and the hardest year of her life. She poured herself a cup, added a spoonful of honey, and settled into her chair. Her phone buzzed on the desk. A text from Carmen, her only real friend at the company. Coffee after work? I need to vent about the Reynolds project. Jade smiled and typed back quickly. Always. Meet you at 5:30. She hit send, set her phone down, and turned to her computer. Emails filled her inbox. Meeting requests, budget approvals, vendor invoices. She worked through them methodically, her fingers moving across the keyboard in a steady rhythm. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Holly, her younger sister, sending a photo of her college campus covered in early autumn leaves. Miss you lots. Wish you were here. Jade's chest tightened. She missed Holly too. Missed their late-night talks, their shared jokes, the way Holly used to steal her sweaters. But Holly was building her future now, studying environmental science on a scholarship Jade had helped make possible. Every extra shift, every late night, every sacrifice had been worth it. She typed back without thinking. I miss you. But her thumb slipped. Instead of hitting the message thread with Holly, she accidentally tapped the work chat. The message sent before she could stop it. To Harrison Blake. The CEO. When silence becomes thunder. Jade stared at her screen, her heart dropping into her stomach. The little checkmark appeared next to the message. Delivered. Read. No. No, no, no. Her hands shook as she reached for her phone, trying to unsend it, delete it, make it disappear. But the system had no undo button. The message sat there, glowing like a beacon. 3 simple words that now felt like a confession. I miss you. Harrison Blake was not the kind of man people approached casually. He was 42, impeccably dressed, and known for running the company with precision and distance. He never raised his voice, never showed emotion, and never crossed professional lines. People respected him. Some feared him. No one really knew him. And Jade had just sent him a text that sounded deeply, embarrassingly personal. She pressed her palms against her desk, trying to breathe. Maybe he would ignore it. Maybe he would assume it was a mistake and never mention it. Maybe she could slip through the rest of the day without dying of humiliation. But then she heard footsteps. Steady. Deliberate. Moving across the office floor. Conversations quieted. Keyboards stopped clicking. The entire room seemed to hold its breath. Jade kept her eyes on her screen, praying he was walking towards someone else. Anyone else. The footsteps stopped directly behind her. A shadow fell across her desk. Her pulse thundered in her ears. Then his voice, low and calm, spoke just above a whisper. Say it again. The weight of a single moment. Jade froze. Every muscle in her body locked. She could feel the heat rising in her cheeks, could sense every single person on the floor pretending not to stare while absolutely staring. Slowly, she turned in her chair. Harrison Blake stood less than 3 feet away, hands in his pockets, his expression unreadable. He wore a charcoal suit with no tie, his shirt open at the collar. His dark eyes held hers without blinking. I didn't mean to send that to you, Jade managed, her voice barely audible. It was supposed to go to my sister. He tilted his head slightly, studying her. I see. The silence stretched between them like a tightrope. I'm really sorry, she added quickly. It won't happen again. Harrison didn't move. Didn't smile. Didn't frown. He just looked at her for one more long, impossible moment. Then he nodded once. Understood. He turned and walked back across the office, his stride as calm and controlled as ever. The door to his private office clicked shut behind him. Jade exhaled shakily, her hands trembling as she gripped the edge of her desk. Around her, the office slowly came back to life. Whispers rippled through the cubicles like wind through tall grass. Did that just happen? What did she say to him? I think she just flirted with Harrison Blake. Carmen appeared at her desk within seconds, eyes wide. Girl. What just happened? Jade shook her head, unable to form words. Everyone saw him walk over here, Carmen whispered urgently. What did he say? He asked me to say it again. Carmen's jaw dropped. Say what again? The message. I accidentally told him I miss him. You what? Jade buried her face in her hands. It was meant for Holly. Carmen sat on the edge of the desk, processing. Okay. Okay. So it was an accident. He knows that now, right? I think so. Then why did he walk all the way across the office just to ask you to repeat it? Jade had no answer for that. The aftermath. By lunchtime, the story had spread to every floor. Jade kept her head down, answering emails, updating spreadsheets, doing anything to avoid eye contact. Her thermos of tea sat untouched. Her lunch stayed sealed in its container. At 2:15, her computer pinged with a calendar invitation. Sender, Harrison Blake. Subject, Project Review. Time, 4 o'clock. Today. Location, CEO office. Her stomach twisted. Carmen leaned over from the next cubicle. Is that what I think it is? Jade nodded mutely. He's probably just going to clarify things, Carmen said, trying to sound reassuring. Make sure there's no confusion. It'll be fine. But Jade wasn't sure. Because when Harrison Blake had stood at her desk and asked her to say it again, there had been something in his voice. Something that didn't sound like a man seeking clarification. It sounded like a man who already knew the answer. 4 o'clock. Jade stood outside Harrison's office at 3:58, smoothing her skirt with damp palms. Through the frosted glass, she could see his silhouette at his desk. She knocked softly. Come in. She stepped inside. The office was large but not ostentatious. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. A sleek desk held 2 monitors, a leather portfolio, and a single pen. Everything was organized. Controlled. Like the man himself. Harrison stood near the window, hands clasped behind his back. When he turned to face her, his expression was calm. Close the door. She did. Have a seat. She sat in the chair across from his desk, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Harrison moved to his desk but didn't sit. He leaned against the edge, arms crossed, studying her. I want to make something clear, he said. You're not in trouble. Jade exhaled slightly. Okay. But I do want to address what happened this morning. She nodded. You said the message was meant for your sister. It was. I believe you. He paused. But that doesn't mean it was entirely untrue. Her breath caught. Harrison's gaze didn't waver. I notice things, Jade. I notice that you arrive early and leave late. I notice that you bring your own tea in that old thermos. I notice that you never ask for recognition, even when you deserve it. Her heart pounded. And I noticed, he continued, his voice dropping slightly, that when I stood at your desk this morning, you looked at me like you were afraid. Not of me. Of what you felt. Jade couldn't breathe. So I'm going to ask you one question, Harrison said. And you don't have to answer it now. You don't have to answer it at all. But I need you to think about it. He leaned forward slightly, his eyes locked on hers. Was that message really an accident? The question hung in the air between them. Jade's mind raced. Her pulse hammered. Every instinct screamed at her to deny it, to protect herself, to stay invisible. But when she opened her mouth, the truth slipped out before she could stop it. I don't know. Harrison's expression softened. Just barely. But enough for her to see it. Then take your time figuring it out, he said quietly. Because once you do, everything changes. The morning after Jade barely slept that night. She lay in her small apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word Harrison had said. The way he looked at her. The way his voice had dropped when he asked if the message was really an accident. Was that message really an accident? I don't know. Those two words had unlocked something she'd kept buried for months. Maybe longer. The truth was, she had noticed Harrison Blake long before that accidental text. She noticed the way he rolled his sleeves when he worked late. The way he listened when people spoke, really listened, like their words mattered. The way he carried himself with quiet strength rather than loud arrogance, but noticing him and missing him were two different things, weren't they? Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Holly. You okay? You seemed distracted when we talked earlier. Jade typed back quickly. Just tired. Work stuff. Love you. She set the phone down and pulled her blanket tighter. Tomorrow would be better. Tomorrow she would go back to being invisible, and this whole mess would fade into office folklore, except tomorrow didn't work out that way at all. The gossip mill Wednesday morning arrived with dark clouds and steady rain. Jade walked into the building at 7:20, hoping to slip to her desk unnoticed. But the moment she stepped off the elevator, she felt it, eyes. Everywhere, people glanced up from their computers. Conversations paused mid-sentence. Someone near the copy machine actually stopped printing to watch her walk by. Carmen met her at her desk, coffee in hand and concern on her face. Okay, so don't panic, but something happened. Jade set down her bag slowly. What kind of something? Carmen handed her phone over. On the screen was the company's internal message board, a thread titled, Executive Meetings and Professional Boundaries. Jade's stomach dropped as she scrolled through the comments. Did anyone else notice Blake called Monroe into his office yesterday? Wasn't that right after the message incident? I heard they were in there for almost half an hour. Half an hour about a mistaken text. Sure. Jade closed her eyes. This is bad. It gets worse, Carmen said gently. HR wants to see you at 9. The HR meeting, the Human Resources office, was located on the 11th floor, decorated in shades of gray and beige that somehow made everything feel more serious. Jade sat in a small conference room, hands folded on the table, waiting. The door opened. A woman in her 50s entered, carrying a tablet and wearing a professional smile that didn't reach her eyes. Jade, thank you for coming. I'm Patricia Vance, Senior HR Director. I believe we met briefly during your onboarding. Yes, ma'am. Patricia sat across from her. I want to start by saying this is just a conversation. You're not being disciplined. We simply want to ensure everyone feels comfortable and supported. Jade nodded, her throat tight. I understand there was an incident yesterday involving a personal message sent to Mr. Blake. It was an accident, Jade said quickly. I was texting my sister and hit the wrong contact. I believe you, Patricia said smoothly. But I also understand Mr. Blake called you to his office afterward. Can you tell me what was discussed? Jade hesitated. She couldn't exactly say that Harrison had asked if she had feelings for him. He wanted to make sure I understood it was a mistake, she said carefully. And to clarify that I wasn't in trouble. That's good, Patricia said, making a note on her tablet. And did anything else happen during that meeting? No, ma'am. Patricia studied her for a moment. Jade, I want you to know that this company takes professional conduct very seriously. We also take power dynamics seriously. If at any point you feel uncomfortable or pressured by anyone in a leadership position, you need to tell us immediately. I understand. Good. Patricia smiled again. Then we're done here. Thank you for your time. Jade stood, her legs unsteady. As she reached the door, Patricia spoke again. One more thing. It's probably best to maintain clear professional boundaries going forward. For everyone's protection. The words were kind. The message was clear: stay away from Harrison Blake. The unexpected defender. Jade returned to her desk feeling hollow. She pulled out her thermos and poured tea with shaking hands. The honey swirled slowly, golden threads dissolving into amber liquid. Around her, the office hummed with productivity. But she could still feel the glances, still hear the whispers just beneath the surface. At 10:30, the elevator doors opened. Harrison Blake stepped out, but he wasn't alone. Beside him walked Natalie Pierce, the executive liaison. Natalie was everything Jade wasn't: polished, confident, connected. She wore designer suits and spoke 3 languages. Everyone assumed she and Harrison would eventually announce an engagement. Natalie's heels clicked across the floor as she made her way toward Jade's desk. Harrison had already disappeared into a meeting room. Jade, right? Natalie said, her voice smooth as silk. Yes, ma'am. I wanted to have a quick word. Natalie perched on the edge of Jade's desk, crossing her legs elegantly. I heard about yesterday. The message situation. Jade's cheeks burned. It was a mistake. Of course it was, Natalie said, smiling. But mistakes can still create problems. Especially when they involve someone like Harrison. I understand. Do you? Natalie's smile didn't waver, but her eyes sharpened. Because Harrison is under a lot of scrutiny right now. The board is watching him. Investors are watching him. And anything that looks unprofessional reflects badly on all of us. Jade met her gaze. I'm not trying to cause problems. I know you're not, Natalie said. But intention doesn't always matter. Perception does. She stood, smoothing her skirt. Just be careful, Jade. For everyone's sake. As Natalie walked away, Carmen appeared instantly. What did she want? To warn me off, Jade said quietly. From what? Jade didn't answer. But she didn't need to. The turning point. At 11:45, Jade received an email marked urgent. Sender, Harrison Blake. Subject, regarding this morning. She opened it with trembling fingers. Jade, I was informed about your meeting with HR. I want you to know that I initiated a conversation with Patricia to clarify that yesterday's discussion was entirely appropriate and professional. I also want to make something clear: you have every right to work here without being subjected to gossip or intimidation. If anyone makes you uncomfortable, tell me immediately. HB. Jade read it 3 times. He had gone to HR for her. To protect her. Before she could process what that meant, her phone rang. Internal extension. Jade Monroe. It's Harrison. Can you come to my office? Now. Her heart jumped. Of course. She stood, ignoring the stares, and walked across the office with her head high. Behind closed doors. Harrison's office felt different this time. Less formal. He stood by the window, jacket off, sleeves rolled up. When she entered, he turned. Close the door. She did. Sit if you want. Or stand. Whatever makes you comfortable. Jade chose to stand. Harrison moved closer, stopping a respectful distance away. I heard what Natalie said to you. Jade blinked. How? Carmen told me. She was worried. I can handle it. I know you can, Harrison said. But you shouldn't have to. Not because of me. It's not your fault. Isn't it? He ran a hand through his hair, a rare break in his composure. I'm the one who walked across the office yesterday. I'm the one who called you in here. I'm the one who asked you a question I had no business asking. You didn't force me to answer. No, he agreed. But I put you in a position where you felt you had to. Jade shook her head. You gave me a choice. There's a difference. Harrison looked at her for a long moment. You're stronger than people realize. I've had to be. I know. His voice softened. I know about your sister's tuition. I know about your mother. I know you're carrying weight that no one here sees. Her breath caught. How do you know that? Because I pay attention to the people who matter, he said simply. And you matter, Jade. More than you think. The words hung between them like a bridge neither had expected. I need to tell you something, Harrison continued. And I need you to listen without interrupting. Jade nodded. For the last 6 months, I've noticed you. Not just your work, though that's exceptional. I've noticed the way you bring that old thermos every day. The way you stay late to help people who never thank you. The way you move through this place like you're trying not to take up space. He stepped closer. And I've spent 6 months telling myself it didn't mean anything. That I was just observing an employee. That what I felt was professional respect and nothing more. Jade's heart pounded. But yesterday, when I read those 3 words, something broke open. Because for one moment, I let myself believe you felt it too. Harrison, she whispered. You don't have to say anything, he said quickly. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just telling you the truth because you deserve to know it. And because hiding it is becoming impossible. Jade's mind raced. Every professional instinct screamed at her to walk away. But her heart, the part of her that had been quiet for so long, was screaming even louder. I do feel it, she said, the words tumbling out. I've felt it for months. And it terrifies me. Harrison exhaled, relief and something deeper flooding his expression. Why does it terrify you? Because I can't afford to lose this job. Because my sister depends on me. Because people like me don't end up with people like you. People like us, Harrison corrected gently. We're just people, Jade. Trying to figure this out like everyone else. But we're not everyone else, she said. You're the CEO. I'm an assistant. The power imbalance alone makes this impossible. You're right, he admitted. Which is why I won't push. I won't ask for anything you're not ready to give. But I also won't pretend I don't feel this. They stood in silence, the rain pattering against the windows. What do we do? Jade asked finally. We take it one day at a time, Harrison said. We stay professional in public. We protect you from gossip. And we see where this goes, if you want it to go anywhere at all. Jade looked at him, really looked at him, and saw something she hadn't expected. Vulnerability. I want to try, she whispered. Harrison's expression softened. Then we'll try. Together. The price of truth. Over the next 2 weeks, they were careful. Meetings were documented. Conversations stayed professional. But there were moments, small stolen moments, when their eyes would meet across a conference room and the world would fall away. Harrison started leaving notes on her desk. Simple things. Good work on the Reynolds report. Thank you for staying late. Each one written by hand. Jade started looking forward to Wednesdays, when they had their standing project review meetings. Just the two of them, talking about budgets and timelines, but underneath it all, building something neither of them had words for yet. But corporate buildings have eyes everywhere. On a Friday afternoon, Jade received another HR summons. This time, Patricia wasn't alone. Natalie Pierce sat beside her, expression neutral. "Jade, please sit," Patricia said. Jade sat, her stomach churning. "We've received reports of continued private meetings between you and Mr. Blake. They're work-related," Jade said. "Project reviews for the Reynolds account." "We understand," Natalie said smoothly. "But optics matter. And right now, the optics suggest favoritism. I'm not receiving any special treatment. Aren't you?" Natalie slid a folder across the table. "You've been assigned to 3 high-profile projects in the last 2 weeks. Your salary was reviewed ahead of schedule. And you've had more one-on-one time with the CEO than any other assistant in the company." Jade's throat tightened. "I'm doing my job. No one's questioning your work," Patricia said. "But we need to ensure fairness across all departments. Moving forward, we're reassigning the Reynolds account." "To who?" "To my team," Natalie said. "It's nothing personal. Just a restructuring." But it was personal. Completely personal. Jade stood. "Is there anything else?" "Just one thing," Patricia said gently. "Be careful who you trust, Jade. Not everyone has your best interests at heart." Jade left the office feeling numb. She walked straight to Harrison's office and knocked. "Come in." He looked up from his desk, saw her face, and stood immediately. "What happened?" "They're taking me off Reynolds. They're separating us." Harrison's jaw tightened. "Who made that decision?" "HR." But Natalie was there. He grabbed his jacket. "Come with me." The stand. Harrison walked straight into Patricia's office with Jade behind him. Natalie looked up, startled. "Harrison, we were just discussing." "You were discussing how to punish someone for doing excellent work," Harrison said, his voice cold and controlled. "And I want to know who authorized it." Patricia stood. "This was a departmental decision based on workload distribution." "No," Harrison said flatly. "This was a decision based on gossip and assumptions. And it ends now." "Harrison, I understand you're upset, but..." "Jade Monroe has done nothing wrong," Harrison continued. "She has conducted herself with professionalism and integrity. If this company has a problem, it's not with her. It's with the people who can't separate competence from conspiracy." Natalie's expression hardened. "We're trying to protect you." "I don't need protection from someone who makes me better at my job," Harrison said. He looked at Patricia. "Jade stays on Reynolds. If that's a problem, we can take it to the board." Patricia exchanged a glance with Natalie. "That won't be necessary." "Good." Harrison turned to Jade. "Let's go." They walked out together, side by side, and for the first time, Jade didn't feel invisible. She felt seen. Protected. Valued. And maybe, just maybe, loved. The fallout. Monday morning brought consequences. Jade arrived at work to find her desk moved. Not dramatically, just 3 rows back, farther from Harrison's office. Farther from visibility. Carmen helped her carry her few belongings. "This is ridiculous." "It's strategic," Jade said quietly, setting down her thermos. "They're trying to create distance without making it obvious." "Well, it's obvious." Jade arranged her monitor, her notepad, her pens. Everything in its place. But something felt wrong. This new spot didn't have the window view. Didn't have the quiet corner she'd claimed as her own. It felt like erasure. At 9, an email arrived. Company-wide. Effective immediately, Harrison Blake will be stepping back from daily operations for a comprehensive review of executive procedures. Chief Operating Officer Mitchell Grant will assume temporary leadership. Jade read it twice, her blood running cold. They were removing him. Because of her. She stood abruptly, ignoring the stairs, and walked straight to the executive floor. Harrison's office was dark, the door closed. Mitchell Grant emerged from the conference room. "Can I help you?" "Where's Harrison?" "Mr. Blake is taking a leave of absence," Mitchell said smoothly. "If you need assistance, you can direct your questions to me." "I need to speak with him." "That won't be possible." Jade's hands curled into fists. "You can't just remove him." "The board made this decision," Mitchell said. "For everyone's benefit. Everyone except him." Mitchell's expression hardened. "Ms. Monroe, I suggest you return to your desk before this becomes a larger problem than it already is." Jade walked away, her heart pounding with rage and helplessness. The secret message. That evening, Jade sat in her apartment, staring at her phone. Holly had called twice. Carmen had texted. But Jade couldn't bring herself to respond. She'd ruined everything. Harrison's career. Her own reputation. All because of 3 accidental words. Her laptop chimed. Private message. Unknown sender. She opened it cautiously. "I meant what I said. You don't have to carry this alone. Meet me tomorrow, 6 a.m., where we had coffee before. Come if you want to. No pressure. Just a conversation. H." Jade stared at the screen. He wasn't supposed to contact her. He wasn't even supposed to be in the system. But he'd found a way. She typed back slowly. "I'll be there." The coffee shop. The little cafe was quiet at dawn, tucked between buildings most people walked past without noticing. Jade arrived first, ordering chamomile tea with honey, her hands wrapped around the warm cup. Harrison appeared at 6:03. No suit today. Just jeans, a simple sweater, and a tiredness around his eyes that made him look human in a way she'd never seen before. He sat across from her without asking. "Thank you for coming." "I'm sorry," Jade said immediately. "This is all my fault." "No," Harrison said firmly. "This is corporate politics. This is fear. This is people protecting systems instead of people. But if I hadn't sent that message, then I would have found another excuse to notice you," he said. "And eventually, we'd still end up here." Jade looked down at her tea. "What happens now?" "I step back. Let the review process play out. It'll take a few weeks. And then? And then I decide if I want to come back to a place that treats people like chess pieces." Her head snapped up. "You'd leave? For the right reason?" "Yes." He held her gaze. "But I need to know something first." "What? Do you regret it?" "The message. All of this." Jade was quiet for a long moment. She thought about the gossip. The HR meetings. The desk move. The isolation. But she also thought about the notes Harrison left. The way he looked at her. The way he'd stood up for her when no one else would. "No," she said finally. "I don't regret it." Harrison exhaled slowly. "Good. Because neither do I." He reached across the table, not touching her, but close enough that she could feel the warmth of his hand near hers. "When this is over," he said quietly, "I want to take you to dinner. A real one. Not hidden. Not secret. Just us. People will talk. Let them. Your career is mine to risk," Harrison said. "Not yours to protect me from." Jade felt tears prick her eyes. Why me? Because you're the first person in years who made me feel like myself, he said simply. Not the CEO. Not the title. Just me. The package. 1 week later, a package arrived at Jade's apartment. Plain brown box. No return address. Inside, wrapped in tissue paper, was a new thermos. Sleek, modern, expensive. But engraved on the side in simple script, for the woman who deserves something unbroken. Beneath it, a note. I know you love the old one. Keep it. But sometimes we need reminders that we're allowed to have nice things too. That we're allowed to be cared for. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Wait for me if you want. If not, I understand. But know this, you changed something in me that I didn't know needed changing. And I'll be grateful for that regardless of what comes next. Yours, Harrison. Jade held the thermos, tears streaming down her face. Carmen found her like that an hour later, called over in a panic. What happened? Are you okay? Jade showed her the note. Carmen read it twice, then looked up. Girl. That man is in love with you. I know. So what are you going to do? Jade looked at the new thermos, then at her mother's old one sitting on the kitchen counter, worn and familiar and precious. She didn't have to choose between them. She could honor both. I'm going to wait, Jade said. And when he comes back, I'm going to tell him the truth. Which is? Jade smiled through her tears. That I miss him. For real this time. The return. 2 weeks and 3 days later, Harrison walked back into the building. The board review had cleared him. No misconduct. No violations. Just rumors and speculation. He went straight to the 9th floor. Jade's desk was back in its original corner. She'd moved it herself, with Carmen's help, claiming she worked better by the window. Harrison appeared at her desk at precisely 10:15, the time she always took her tea break. Everyone watched. He didn't care. Jade Monroe, he said clearly, loud enough for the whole floor to hear. She looked up, her heart racing. Would you have dinner with me? Tonight. As my guest. Not my employee. The office went completely silent.